Pioneers. Today we're going to be making organic cake mix. And this cake mix is organic, so you can store it up to 2 years in a vacuum seal or up to 1 month in your pantry. And it's organic, it's not full of any sort of chemicals. And if you looked at the ingredients of cake mix, scary. So I'm going to show you how to make organic cake mix that you can always have in your pantry, and it's economical. So let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to be making organic cake mix, and there's several ways you can store cake mix that you buy. When you buy it in the grocery store, it's in like a really thin clear bag that they either there's no air drawn out of it, so they just heat seal it up, and that cake mix can last up to a year in your pantry. So that tells me that a lot of the ingredients that are inside of that cake mix they're not organic. So today I'm going to show you several ways you can store an organic cake mix, and then but let's first start on how to make it. So what you're going to need is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, there is a product out there called cake flour, and there is a company that makes cake flour, and I've had this box. It's unopened. I've had this box for probably 4 months. I think 4 months in my pantry, and I don't believe this company is an organic company, and I'm not even sure. I haven't read any of the ingredients are enriched cake flour, wheat flour, niacin, reduced iron. Most of these I can't pronounce, and there's a folic acid. Anything that you can't pronounce, you probably shouldn't put it in your body. It does not contain any baking powder or salt. So you can buy this cake flour to make things a little easier on you, but I'm a person that's not into easy, I'm into healthy. So I've not opened this, and this says that this has been around since 1894, old company. I'm really not sure why they aren't organic or won't go organic. I don't know. You might want to look up information on Swan's Down cake flour. But today, there's 2 different flours you can get organically in most Whole Foods stores, and this particular company has a lot of different types of flour. So they always offer a variety, and I've used their flours, many different types of flours, and they always work out really well. This one says it's great for cakes, and it's an unbleached pastry flour. And it clearly says over here that it's good for cakes. So I use quite a bit of this. This is not a really good way to store it, but I just use a whole bunch of it because I'm making some different recipes. There's also a super fine cake flour that they make, and this says it's for cakes as well. So either one of these would probably be good. You could, any organic, even the 365, the Whole Foods brand is good. But we're just going to start out with some all-purpose, regular flour. I'm not going to use the superfine cake flour today, but you could use that if you wanted to. And none of the flours, the cake flours, contain, that package says it doesn't contain anything. So we're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We're not going to sift it, and I'm going to use, for today's purposes, I'm going to show you how to store it in a mason jar first. And I used a funnel because I felt like it wouldn't be as messy all over my table. That's not good. We've got our flour in the jar. I want to make sure I keep the rim nice and clean. My hands are clean, so. And the next thing you're going to want to put in here is 1.5 cups of sugar. Now, I use pure cane sugar in everything I make. I don't use bleached sugar at all. So you could use bleached sugar in this recipe, but again, this is an organic recipe, so I would encourage you to use pure cane. So this is 1 cup. I'm going to make a mess again. I'm nervous about it going through the funnel because we had a lot of rain and the humidity is very thick in here. All right. Now we're going to need a 1/2 cup of powdered milk. Okay. So we've got flour, sugar, and milk. And the only thing left is the baking powder. Baking powder that is organic is always aluminum free. Check your baking powder, the ingredients on it. If you're buying a brand that is readily available at Walmart, it's probably not organic and it probably contains aluminum. Aluminum is something you should never put in your body. I have no idea why the companies are putting aluminum, but be sure and select the aluminum-free baking powder. It is not needed to activate baking powder, so I'm really unsure of why they put it in there. Only other reason I can think of is to preserve it. So we need 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. So I'm just going to use my 1/4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is your basic cake mix. No flavor whatsoever. Now, there are all kinds of ways to flavor cake mix. Many ways. You can buy organic flavorings in the baking aisle over at any of your organic stores. You can go to Amazon and buy all of the flavorings that you want. They have just tons, from lemon to lime to rum to anything. You can absolutely. This is your dry mix that you're going to store. The wet ingredients that you put in your cake mix, you can flavor it with anything. Now, I like cake mixes that have a pudding base. They require a less amount of butter and they keep your cakes really, really moist. So if you wanted a vanilla cake mix, here is an organic brand of vanilla pudding. Now, this is not an instant pudding at all. This is the kind that you cook over the stove. But you could add this to the cake mix and make a vanilla cake. And it comes in a clear package, not airtight, but just a clear package to go in. If you wanted a chocolate cake, you could add the chocolate brand or the chocolate version of theirs. And if you add this to your cake mix, you're going to have a chocolate cake. I'm from the old school, so I have a lot of different types of cocoa mixes that I like to add to cakes to flavor them or spice them up for chocolate cake. when you get this ready to use, then I'll leave the recipe down in the description box for you, because when you're trying to prepare it, you're going to want the wet ingredients as well. This recipe will also be located on potspansandpioneers.com, where you can go and print it off, the dry version to store, and then also the version to mix in a cake mix. So what we're going to do now is we're going to air seal this. Now you could use any of the Food Saver brand bags if you wanted to seal this for a long time and didn't want to have a lot of bulk storage. I like to have a couple of jars of these, just like a couple of cake mixes in my pantry. And so I'm going to go ahead and air seal it for you. So we put the attachment on. Move the camera around so you can see. And this is my, I don't know if you can see that now. This is my Food Saver. So I'm going to hook the accessory port up to the jar. I'm going to make sure it's turned on, and I want to and then all you do is remove this and remove this, and it's an airtight seal. Excuse me, sorry. So what we have is, you could store it without the lid. I just put the lids on them so I know where all my lids are, really. But you don't necessarily need to store this. If you stored this in a garage or a root cellar, you probably wouldn't want to leave this lid on it because they do rust. But I have this indoors in a pantry, and I just like to keep my lids on them. So this is an airtight sealed cake mix, just a plain cake mix. Again, you could seal this in a Ziploc bag if you wanted to. You could store it in a Ziploc bag, just the regular Ziploc bags, up to I would say a month, and I would keep them in your refrigerator to store longer than that. But in your pantry, you could probably mix all this ingredients and store it inside of inside of the pantry. So I hope this helps, and I hope you'll make your own organic cake mix. And I will also do videos where I'm using this organic cake mix, where I'm making actual cakes. So you'll see that at some point. Meanwhile, I hope you try the recipe. I'm going to put it down in the description box, the link to the website where you can print off the actual full recipe on how to make a cake with this recipe here. And I hope you'll come back, leave comments, and also subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a great day, and God bless you.